I think we should just touch on the Zach Parise scratch. I know there's been a lot said about it this week, and he's back in the lineup against Arizona as was expected. It was just a 1-game thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a player that made a mistake that needed to be reprimanded for it by a scratch. And it just happens to be Zach Parise, and a player that you're giving all this money to, and a player that is wearing a letter. Shout out to Marcus Foligno for capturing that letter.
Hashtag Marcus Foligno fan club
for that game. I'm sure Alexis, you were thrilled
to
see that. No, and again, I don't need to harp on it too much because certainly I had talked about it, but I think maybe I'm interested to see how Zach responds to that. I think Zach is a hard worker, and he's always given that. Even when he's struggling, he's always going to work hard. I think right now that's just struggling. Game. It is. That's entirely his game. That's his wheelhouse, 100%, which is tough, I think, for Wild fans, right? Because you look at how much money you're paying a guy who just works hard. I mean, that's a typical 4th line job. And I don't disagree with that, but I mean, Zach will give you his all. And I'm interested to see how he responds to this. I think the toughest thing with Parise is he really hasn't found a way to fit into this team. And I'm not saying that culture wise, because I don't know that that's necessarily a difference, but I'm saying there hasn't been a line that he's really found that chemistry with. I know there were high hopes that he would find it with Bukestad, and I think he'll remain with Bukestad for the majority of the season because they are the two that seem to play well together. But I think that's the toughest thing for him is he doesn't know where he fits, and he so desperately wants to. It's just not there. They're having a tough time finding that.
Yeah, and he's been a snake bit throughout the season. You've even seen in games where he's had good games, he couldn't buy a goal. I mean, he's just the games that he's been noticeable. He hasn't been able to score in the game, and there's been a handful of games he's been unnoticeable. And when the news first broke that he was scratched, I really didn't like it. I thought it was a bad move on Dean's part, and I was kind of upset about it. And when I talked to my dad about it, he reminded me, he said, Alexis, this is a John Tortorella move, and you love John Tortorella. He is the kind of coach who does this stuff, and we love him. And I was like, okay. He's like, so have a little respect for Dean's decision. And he kind of broke it down for me, and I had a little bit easier time swallowing that pill after I had that conversation with my dad, because, and to your point, Jesse, it doesn't matter what player it is. If a player makes a mistake on a team, that this is the kind of stuff that happens. You either get sat for the remainder of the game, you get scratched for the next one, you get bumped down a line. These are the kind of things that happen in hockey all the time. So it shouldn't matter whose name is on the back of that jersey. The coaches need to find a way to tell them, hey, that was unacceptable. Now go out there and play better the next time. So I agree with you 100%. Just like the Wild need to have a better overall game in this series, bounce back against Arizona here. Zach Parise also needs to prove why he's on this team, why he gets paid what he does, and get back into his groove. So we don't, you want him to be playing better. He's a big part of this team. He's been a part of this team for a long time. And when Zach Parise's on his game, the team is better. So you hope that he finds a way to get back and prove to Dean that he belongs there and deserves to play. So I'm excited to see what he does.